Okay, so we're into round 2 here now with the Scouts version here, Scout side of Diaz Ram's story. So this is again Diaz Ram coming through, and the Scouts are watching, and I've got the fresh materials, the plants here, placements. In this we've got Legends, Ogre OG here. They've got a great product, an interesting company, mixed feelings about it, a lot of people have. And then the other one is again the Fainting Goat, which is the Green Vault. They've got the great logo you can see in the other video. I mentioned them, they're pretty good. They're a little bit harsh, the Green Vault. They're a good product though. They taste good. These Legends though, these guys, they've got a very tasty product, very smooth, and but people have mixed feelings about them. I've heard people who work there kind of call them, have worked there. Former employees have told me they're kind of like a Walmart of weed. They actually, the same growers, the same company grows that ends up owning lots of different names that aren't the Legends name brand. The Legends brand is their top of the crop product, and then their other products that don't meet those same high quality standards as this one get sold under other names for less money. But the Legends product is excellent quality and a good price. However, they say it's organic and it passes all the tests for organic, that it's pesticide free and all that kind of thing. But I've heard from the people who work there that that's just what they do for the flowering cycle for the plant. But during the cloning, vegging, that process, they keep it really tight, clean process, but then they make sure the plant is clean before the product goes to market, which people have mixed feelings about that. How clean is the product? And they do all this, it's kind of almost like it's almost false advertising to say you've got a diversity in a field, right? And this is, and that's where Walmart's not a good comparison. I don't want to rag on Walmart at all. I think they're a great company for many reasons, and other people disagree with that for many reasons. That's fine. They do wonderful things for products, moving them around all over the place, and people have consequences because of that not everyone likes. But it's a similar kind of thing with Legends, except for Legends is not doing exactly what Walmart's doing at all. That's just what people kind of refer to it as. But anyways, let's get back to the Ram. Got something fresh rolled. I don't want to ramble about irrelevant things like what gets product placement in here. This is just what I like. I'm not advertiser. I'm not selling anything for anybody. I'm just sharing with you how I like to weave the story threading in here with Ram for y'all. So here we are. The people, they're surrounded by gators now. The people are. The Ram made it out because the two hawks came and rescued the Ram by the deer antlers. And now the people who had been scouting this Ram towards the plateau are now stuck in the swamp. Well, not stuck. They don't know which way to go because they, can't see the sun or the stars anymore because they've gotten in so close to the plateau where now they're speculating to each other that maybe they're underneath the plateau. And they don't know how to get out from underneath the plateau because they don't have any sense of direction, because this plateau, again, is surrounded by these thick forests, and it's actually an elevated plateau being held up by these thick trees. And so now, talking to each other, they don't want to pick off the meal of the gators because, and again, these are these upright gators they stand on their hind legs, and they seem to be a little bit curiously observant of the humans, because the humans are watching one gator fight off this horned creature, this one-horned. It's not a unicorn because it's not like a body of a, it's more like a rhinoceros triceratops thing, right? Because it's got the shield around the neck, back of the neck, and it's got one horn. The people are sitting there talking to each other like, we got no food, we've been drinking the swamp, they're kind of, taking drinks on the side there of that swamp water, and they're got nothing to eat. They're thinking, maybe if we rescue this horned creature, that we can fend off these gators and get out of here alive together. And maybe this we can figure out from this horned creature what the heck's even going on here. Maybe follow it, and get some more clues, right? So one of them hops on the back of horned creature starts whispering and hugs it, gets a big bear hug around the back of the creature, like a big mama bear hug. Not like it's attacking the horned creature, just a big mama bear hug. Hugs it, starts whispering in his ear, say, I'm gonna rescue you, okay? We're gonna get you out of here. I got 2 more buddies here. They're gonna get that gator off you. You just gotta trust me here, okay? And the horned creature's snarling, ha ha ha, trying to get away from the gator. And then, sure enough, 2 of the buddies come in. They rip the gator off the back of the horned creature, or off of the neck of the horned creature, right? Because it's got its jaws on the plate here, but it's trying to get it slipped underneath the plate to take this horned creature out. But the horned creature, of course, gets rescued by these humans, who then ride the back. It's 4 people, but one of them stays behind with the gators. 3 of them get on the back of the I gotta get a name for this thing, unitops there, right? Uniceratops. Here it comes, the Unisaurai. There we go. It's the Unisaurai. All right, so Unisaurai. That's the name of this creature. Unisaurai is leading these 3 humans out. Well, one of them doesn't make it on top and gets adopted now by the gator people. That's a whole nother thread. They're riding off through, and they start to learn by whispering to Unisaurai what Unisaurai is going to tell them that they're going to need to know to get the hell out of here, right? Because they don't even care about the ram at this point. They just want to get out alive too. They're like the ram at this point. The ram's trying to get home with his family on the sea. The human scouts were following the ram. They want to get home to their families by the sea too at this point. But their only hope is Unisaurai. So here they are riding Unisaurai through this area that's underneath the plateau, where 2 hawks had come and picked up the ram and flown off with the ram. Which, check out the other story to find out where the ram goes from there. Actually makes it onto the plateau. You'll have to hear about that whole story with the aquarium and all the showdown with everything. We're going to get to that on the other side of this. So now they're riding the back of this unicorn, and this unicorn starts whispering back to him, saying, okay, I'm glad you guys have finally picked up on this. You know what's going on here, right, with that disc on the other side of the plateau. They're like, disc? What disc are you talking about? What's a disc? They're like, a disc. Like a crab shell, a round thing that you throw like a frisbee. And they're like, oh, okay, a disc. Yeah. Well, there's a big silver disc that comes every 2 days on the other side of the plateau. And it flips over in the sky. And it makes all these colors. And there's this magical show and everything. You gotta check it out, right? So I'm gonna take you to and they're like, alright, I guess we're going to the other side of the plateau. We're in this for the journey. We didn't even know we were on the other side of the plateau. We got a story for our family. There's 3 of us. Let's hope Crazy Joe makes it out alive with the gators. Crazy Joe is back there with the gators and didn't catch the ride with Unisaurai. So Unisaurai is carrying him through. Get to the other side. They're seeing it's starting to get light. And there's all these beautiful colors that they're seeing at the end of the tunnel. And you get out to the other side, they see all these flying things. Like, where's the disc? Like, no, this is just the preview, man. Flying goats before the discs come, right? So, and they see all these highly evolved beings flying in the air. Elephants, monkeys, all kinds of flying blue things up in the sky, and you can't see them all very well because most of them are blue. But they're jeweled, and they can see them because of all their jewels that are all over them. But most of them are these flying goatfish things. They have like these flippers they're twirling these flippers to maintain this sort of three patterns to twirl here that they're doing with these flippers that are almost as fast as a bee. And they're keeping these goat head things up in the air. And one of the goat heads has a big stick. But it's not just a stick, it's like a trident with serpents that weave around the trident. And this flying goatfish is sort of takes command at least somewhat. But some of them are just mocking this flying goat king. The elephants and the monkey people and even the goats. Even the goats are making fun of the goat king. Like, yeah, there he is again. He's gonna go wave that rod around and go tell the jaguar what's up. Okay, so here he goes. He's flying up, and there's a rainbow jaguar. They know it's a jaguar at this point, because they've heard stories about these black cats that then in the depths of the shadow turn all these colors, and they're these jaguars, these rainbow jaguars that go from black to then they somehow have this ability to merge with one another. So they call them the twin rainbow jaguar, and they know that this is this mythical creature that they've heard of from people who come out. They've told these stories. They have vague ideas about the wolves that they would run into and all this kind of thing, and now they know that it's real. So they're aware. They've had this communication with this crazy Unisaurai who told them that, hey, we're going to take you on this journey. We're going to get you to the other side of this plateau. And so they get out there to the other side of the plateau, and sure enough, there's this rainbow jaguar up there at the top of the plateau. And from this side of the plateau, it is, now you can see another sea from here. And so at this side of the plateau, you can see that there's water channels in between the plateau and the sea, and it's again a new ecology. And there's lots of sea creatures, sea life, and it's bigger sea life. See, on the other side, they had all these little baby crabs coming out of the sea, and they had a few big crabs and whatnot, but they didn't have many big lobsters. He didn't find that until he got or the people there didn't find that, and neither did the ram until they got to the other side of the first hill on the way into the plateau. So this is the strange thing here. So they get to the other side, and the goat dude with the trident is flying up there to talk with the jaguar, and the people are sitting there watching this business negotiation go down. It's like the jaguar is saying, like, no, you're not going to take this ram with you, and the ram is up there being escorted by this rainbow jaguar, who the people are pretty sure is actually two jaguars that are merged into one. And of course that's what the ram had seen and experienced too. Up there on the top there was that the ram had been flown down and landed on top of the very plateau that he was underneath in that swamp. So they did this dimensional chess, moved up to the high layer of the plateau, attracted therefore the attention of the flying seagoat on the other side of the plateau, who comes in and wants to get domain with the ram, and the seagoat, the seagoat king is trying to convince the jaguar to give him control, and that he's going to escort this good ram down to his family at the sea. And the jaguar is not having much of that. The jaguar is like, nope, we're going to do this together. We're going to get, we're going to let the men decide, is what these three guys say. They're like, the men, they're referring to, they're talking about us. They're going to why would they want, why is the jaguar and the seagoat king, like, we don't even know these guys. Like, we don't do goats in our neighborhood. Like, other than the every other day ram and our herds of cows, we don't have any of the goat people. We don't talk to those guys. We've never seen them in our area. Why are they wanting to talk to us? And jaguars, dude, like, no. Lions, we're friends with the lions, but the jaguar people, we don't even know much about them. Why are they going to have us decide about this ram that's dressed like a deer? And so, which of course, deer, the people know there's no deer in these forests. The deer are in the forests on the other side of the desert, up further north. So they're really confused. But they realize, hey, we're come this far in the journey, might as well try to throw ourselves out there. And as soon as they do, the disc flies into the air, and they see this disc. Here's the show now. There's this flipping disc that's flying through the air, and it's flying down, and then it goes and it sinks into the sand down there closer to the sea. And three dudes come out in suits, big medical technician kind of suits, and they say, you know, we're here to decide the disputes of the matter with the ram. We're the three men, and the three men are like, what is going on? We thought we were the three men. Maybe there's 6 men. There's these guys. They're coming out of this spaceship that crashed here in the next to the ocean, and they're saying that they're going to talk about the dispute with the ram, and they say that they're from the future. And then these 3 guys are like, I don't know these guys. Maybe they're from the future. Maybe they're not. But there's 6 people here, and of course, what happens then is that the goat or the ram starts sliding down the side of the plateau, and the hawks come again. And at this point, the jaguar separates, and so now it's just a black jaguar up on the top, and the other black jaguar goes down to over to the center of the plateau and goes down into a hole in the center of the plateau. And everybody has a snack. Pulls out the Polar. Great product here recently. Polar sardines. They've recently changed their packaging. Yeah, and their ingredient list. And the taste of the product. The texture of the fish, the flavor, is better. This is a very inexpensive product. They lowered the price, changed the package, and got a better quality product on the inside. I track this stuff because I look at it. Ingredients, I'm very conscientious about what I consume most of the time. And this is amazing. And incidentally, at the same time, I noticed, same shopping trip, I went to Trader Joe's the same day. And they had also, likewise, changed the packaging on all of their seafood products. Oysters, sardines, that kind of thing. Not all of them, most of them. Many of them that I get. They changed the packaging on them. They hadn't changed their ingredients at all. I purchased my seafood both from Trader Joe's and from the grocery outlet. And I was impressed to find the grocery outlet had changed their packaging and the quality of the product and lowered the price. Trader Joe's I also support, but they just changed the packaging the same day, interestingly enough. But the product is still the same, and it's still at a decent price. So, everyone has a little meal of fish there at the sea. They bring the business negotiation down to these sort of like teepee sorts of things on the beach, and they're having a fire and cooking stuff, and they're respectful of the crabs. No crabs get boiled alive. Crab people are large, well represented, and they're going to decide what happens with the ram. This time they've got 6 people there with them, 3 of whom usually don't show up because they usually don't make it through there with the one-horned friend there, Unisaurai. So Unisaurai comes through with it's another 6 people to help decide what happens with the darn ram. And now we get the story on the ram from the seagoat side and from the jaguar side. So the seagoat speaks first. And the seagoat says, "This is primarily my business. You people here who claim to be from the future, you know that you are from all of the times, and as am I, and that I am from the center of this earth, and that you are from beyond this earth, and that I am more highly evolved than any of you 3 people, or certainly any of you 6 people here, and that you all work for me, and that I live here at the center of this earth to keep this story going so that no one forgets the truth of the deer in this side of the desert. And therefore I need to maintain this loop with the rams who live underneath the earth with me in my domain." And that he says that the access portals, the access tunnels that go down into my great city under the earth are here to maintain the story with the jaguar. And that the jaguar's responsibility is to get more deers here, running around its plateau and underneath it, and therefore it's attracting deers by getting the old man to keep the story going. The old man's aware of the jaguars, and the old man has to implant in the mind of the ram that it's to find a jaguar to guide it home. And the jaguars, of course, are aware that they are to guide the ram home, but they're not aware that the deer want to be there, and that how the deer get there is by foolishly looking like a ram. And so the jaguars are every other day escorting a ram, a lost ram, that's trying to look like a deer back to the goat king, where the goat king is trying to convince the jaguars every day, like, hey guys, you guys got to get us some real deer in this area, and you're going to have to keep escorting a funny looking deer goat or deer ram for me every other day through your swamp plateau there until you figure out how to get your surface working, because I'm just the dude who rules down below. Right, these cats, you guys rule up above. You got your king over there with the jungle, with the lion, and he does your chase there for you. He makes a good show with the flash there with the crabs catching people off guard. Big lion comes along, playing with the family. Scares you. Lion's doing its job. Jaguars figuring out their job with this whole escort process through this mythical domain here that's not even their kingdom. Right? The jaguar makes no claim. Remember in the second part there of the story of the ram, jaguar tells us right up, it's I'm not the king of the swamp. I'm not the mirage in the desert either. And what that's telling us is that jaguar knows its role and its responsibility as guidance, but it's not anybody's boss the way that this goat king is claiming to be. And it's just there as service with the other creatures in the forest. It's listening to the bats. When the bats come and they say, hey, we got track of your deer ram out there, and these ram is gonna be going this way now, and you gotta get your hawks on this. So of course then the hawks are getting that pickup feedback signal from the jaguars, who are extremely communicative and are aware of the signals of the forest, like the bats. So the bats may not, or the jaguars may not have sonar immediately, but they're catching the signals, right? They're catching the signals from the bats. The bats are easily communicate with the jaguar, both having excellent hearing and different kinds of smell. So they're able to communicate in the ways with the sounds, with the sticks, with the wolves. Obviously, there's a communication pattern coming through there. And so the humans are all aware now more that there's these different levels of communication that are happening here, as they're having this little party on the beach to find out what's going to happen to the ram. And so the goat speaks for his side now. The goat says, I got a whole family of rams down here. My city, and we treat our rams well. They have good families, they have television, they have medical care, they're allowed to do whatever they want, and they're aware that I keep them safe from the bulls. And all of the families know quite well that if they try to get to the surface, that there are humans on the surface, and that those humans have herds of very large bison, and these very large bison will easily be frightened by rams, and the rams may be easily activated to attack the bison, and the bison to play, right? And the bison are like, they're wanting to defend their mates, and so the bulls, really, it's these bulls. It's not even the bison. The bison are actually more docile for some reason. But the bulls, they're warned about the bulls. They say if you ever find yourself at the surface, the bulls are going to mistake you for wanting to mate with their cows, and they're going to try to get you out of there by any means necessary. And they're not going to like rams. These rams and these bulls have been told this story by the goat king to keep them segregated underneath the earth and on the surface of the earth. And so the rams have this deal, though, that their young will be taken to the surface of the earth every other day. That one of their young will be select one ram gets to make it to the surface of the earth every day, and gets to experience the wildlife and learn for the ram's next generations how to live with the bull if it should learn its ways. And every day, of course, one ram makes it, or every other day, one ram gets to go to the surface of the earth to experience what it's like. And of course, when the goat king delivers the ram to the surface of the earth, the ram wakes up on the surface. First time it's experienced sunshine, it's a little bewildered, but it has implanted in its consciousness that it's bull. I have to follow the bull. So it smells the bull, has to learn the bull's ways to make peace with the bull, so that there can be integration there between the people in the center of the earth and the surface of the earth. So this whole story is emerging out here on the beach on the other side now, and the goat king is saying, I have to get this ram back to his family, because this ram's family is protected by me from the bulls. I don't see any bulls here on this side of the beach, so I'm pretty much taking care of protection here, and I'm the one in law and in alignment with the structure of living for rams. Most of the rams here are all living underneath the earth with me. You don't even have any up north, and people can verify for this. There's no rams living up north where there's deer. You guys got to get your deer figured out on the surface of the earth, and we're trying to get everything figured out between the rams and the bulls for peace, right, and for integration, so that the rams and the bulls can live together, so the jaguars and deers can live. Jaguars got nothing against the deer. It's a false story. In fact, the jaguars are there to tell their story. They say, look, we did not kill the last deer, and here's what we know. We know the last deer was killed by a scorpion. And so the ants have been working together with us on behalf of these insects. And they've been telling us the story of the deer all along. We're working together on the surface of the earth. What's going on underneath the earth? And why is there only one ram coming out? People are working together with the herds. Right? The people are stewarding the bulls as best they can. The bulls don't, and they're trying to train the bulls not to attack the ram. That, no, look, it's not a sexual thing, right? The ram's just playful, okay? It's not going for your woman or your cow, okay? It's not. The ram has no malintent, right? And these crabs on the surface of the beach, dude, their shells are protecting them from the rams, and the rams are playing with the crabs. It's just a dance there where, they sink down into the sand. It doesn't hurt the crabs. And the crabs are crawling all over the ram, and it's a big show and everything. But it's not as much of a show as it is the innocence there of the ram on the beach. And it's the innocence of the ram along the whole story of the journey. So we're having a really mature discussion now. We've got the cat sitting down. There's no lion, though. There's just these peaceable jaguars here, the twin jaguars. One of them is, in the swamp getting the relay here, right? So there's a jaguar in the swamp getting the psychic connection off the twin jaguar that's there at the seashore. And now the jaguars are like, okay, this time we got 6 people involved in the conversation instead of just these 3 guys who are really up the northerners, and they always claim they're from the future. And so they're of course from the craft that falls down into the into this, because they're so they say to him, all right, we'll do the best we can to get some more deer down here into this territory now that we've got a better picture of what's going on. We'll get some deer over to your plateau surrounding ecology. We'll let the deer do their thing that they want to do with the jaguars. We'll see if we can reestablish that. We won't punish the scorpion people. We've got plenty of scorpion people up north. The scorpion people are excellent trackers. They track information as long as we keep them fed properly and give them their arenas to do what they do. That's sometimes a deadly game. Sometimes scorpions kill scorpions, or just in a mating practice, just consensual. On accident, something happens, and so scorpion ends up dead just because of the stinger and the sheer whip of the stinger. And we're gonna make sure that kind of thing doesn't happen. We're not gonna have any scorpions contaminate any deer that we bring down here. So we won't attack the scorpion people. Likewise, we won't ship anywhere they aren't wanted, which is in this area where apparently there was an incident with scorpions in the past where the scorpions had once killed off the deer. But we will return deer to this land without any scorpions, and we're gonna have to maintain the thing with the rites of passage there with the goat people and the ram. So what happens then is that the ram is returned to the goat king. The ram is brought down back into the sea, into the city of rams that the goats maintain, stewarding the rams inside the earth. as the sea goats, but these are just regular rams. They're not sea rams. So the story of how they make it up to the surface of the Earth is the bubble that is provided there, that space-time shell that's from underneath the Earth that is brought up by the magic of the technology, really, of this goat king that has this great technology. This is from many times. This goat king just knows what's going on. Doesn't really know what's going on, more manipulates the structure to give it the feel that it knows what's going on, and then works from there. And then so by knowing what it has created, it can work with what it creates, and then it learns to integrate with everything around it. But since it's struggling to do that, it's maintained underneath the Earth for just harmonious relations with very few people from north even know that this is going on, right? This is the people up north are just like, they're happy scorpion people and humans, and they don't see many gators in that area, so they have coverage, information access coverage, where they make sure that they don't need to know anything that they wouldn't want to know. And since they wouldn't want to know it, they let other people do that kind of work for them, which is like, flip a disc down there and, negotiate on behalf of things that are relevant to deer people and to the scorpion people, so that they can get more integration, harmony amongst the different tribes above and below, north, south, different sides of the plateau and the swamp. And there's lots of journeys across the desert, which the jaguar knows, the scorpion knows, but they keep things safe and in guidance and protection for all of the elements.